Hey folks, how you doing? Marty here. Long time no see. I hope you fine people in the vinyl community are doing well. I'm here for a specific purpose, and it is to celebrate 1,000 subs from The Dark Path. He has been struggling at it for a while and finally hit 1,000, and it's been too long. I think I'm going to put a link to his channel in the description. Definitely click on it. He's been offering all you find people some amazing content, a lot of deep dives, just a lot of good insight to the stuff that he buys and loves. And I really appreciate what he does. And I think it's a bummer it's taken him so long to get here, but that's the way it goes. He hasn't put up a contest for 1,000 subs, and basically he is wanting us to show him a set of pairings. Even though I have not done the proper manscaping to show off these glorious memories today, he wants to see albums that each of us that does this contest link in our heads, or it could be a personal story linked to them, or just a sensible connection. But when you listen to one album, you think of the other one, type of thing. So I have selected 5 different pairings here that I'm going to blaze through again, because I've already filmed this thing once and my camera is not working for shit. But first up, this band needs no introduction. And let's be honest, these guys are at the height of their game right now. They just put out an album that everybody loves, and for a good reason, because it's amazing. You should definitely check it out. And I'm looking over here. I'm using my phone, so this is going to be a train wreck. Keeper of the Seven Keys Part 2 by Halloween. This band started off as a speed metal entity fronted by Kai Hansen. And Kai decided that he didn't want to do the vocals anymore, so they brought on a very young Michael Kiska, who is the golden voice of heavy metal, let's be honest. With the 2 Keeper of the Seven Keys albums, they set forth the blueprint that would be what all European power metal from there on followed, essentially. And for years, people have been wishing and wishing and wishing that they would put out a Keeper of the Seven Keys Part 3 that shared the similar quality to the first 2. And after Kai left Halloween, he started a band Gamma Ray and put out 3 albums with Ralph Shelpers from Primal Fear singing. They're not really well-liked albums. They're decent, but they're not great. Kai decided to pick up the reins again on the vocal duties with this album, their 4th album, Land of the Free. And man, oh man, he captured the spirit of the Keeper albums perfectly on this one. When I listen to this or this, I instantly want to listen to the other one again. This is a proper predecessor to the Keeper albums, in my mind. It has the same feel, the same spirit, the same energy. There is not a bad song on this album, but you got tracks like Rebellion and Dreamland and Man on a Mission, which are 2 songs that sit amongst the top 20 best songs he ever wrote. And even Michael Kiska, he guest vocals on Time to Break Free, and also does some backing vocals on this album. But if you've been hankering for the continuation of Keeper, this is the album, Land of the Free. Definitely get this album. It's got the same spirit, and these 2 are a perfect pairing in my mind, and both definite. If you haven't heard either of these albums, chances are you're young and just getting into this stuff. If you're into power metal, both of these albums, both of the Keeper albums and Land of the Free by Gamma Ray, are jewels to the throne of power metal for sure. Next up, we're going to go a little more hardcore based. The Accused. Martha Splatterhead's Maddest Stories Ever Told. This is probably my favorite crossover album. And, man, the intensity. Blaine's vocals are intense, twisted, snarled mess, and it really amps up the intensity of this already fast and super catchy music. It's very metal. There's a hardcore feel, but there's a definite metal approach to the aggressiveness of these riffs. When I got this back in the day, whenever I spun this album was not too far behind DRI's Dealing With It. This is DRI's second album. In my opinion, their best album, to be honest. And after this album, I only care for Four of a Kind. I hated Crossover. I didn't like any of the stuff after Four of a Kind. It's just too Kurt Brett's vocals. He has a very poetic, rhymey vocal style, lyric writing style, but it really works on this. I love how bass heavy this is. I love the speed. Again, very catchy hooks. These albums really aren't that far apart, other than Blaine has got Kurt beat in the vocal department. Definitely a snarled, awesome mess. But these two are, there we go. These two are perfect bedfellows, if you ask me, for sure. And I listen to one, I think of the other, and I'm probably within a couple days reaching for both of them. Perfect pairing. Next up, another good pairing. Talked about this album a lot on my channel because I think it's awesome. I really enjoy the death metal debut. I love the black thrash second album they done. And honestly, Sentence, their first 4 albums sound nothing alike to each other. They could have been a different band. It could have been a different logo at the top of every single album. But Amok is by far my favorite album from this band. Tonelli Jarva changed his vocal style from out of the brutal to the sharper black metal style to more of a Carl McCoy from Fields of the Nephilim influenced pitch growl. The songs are super catchy, they're super dark, they're memorable. This album, I've never gotten sick of it. Tends to be a fall album for me. When the colors start changing, this album somehow just fits that spirit. But they changed their style to embrace more of a death rock type of style, which, when I think of death rock, you got to go with Babylon Horrors. These guys are also a Finnish band, and very similar in a lot of ways. These songs are typically a bit more commercial, leading a little bit more into the rock territory, but, super cheeky lyrics, say you love Satan, say you love Satan. I mean, it's cheesy stuff, but this is a good dark gothic rock album. And when this came out if I listened to this one, it was starting to get a little burnout on it. If I wanted more of it, I would grab this band. I've got this in a single by these guys. Good stuff. And again, this seems like a very sensible pairing, both from the land of Finland. Definitely in the same wheelhouse. Definitely check them out. Next up, this one goes way back to my formative years when I was just starting to get into heavier stuff. Thrash was just taking hold. Was very much into here is a perfect album in a lot of ways. But Metal Church, the debut, came out in 85, spun the crap out of this album. And the aggression on this and the spirit of it, I think, lumped them into the thrash category that was happening with Metallica, who came out around the same time. They're friends. They've done shows together. They shared members at one time. John Marshall, who was not on this album, filled in for James Hetfield when James got burned up in that pyro accident. But this is a great, perfect album. As they went on, they kind of dropped the speedier thrash characteristics, I think, and adopted more of a U.S. power metal heaviness and class, more of a heavy metal class to it. Great stuff. But during this time, if I was spinning this, chances were that this album was not far behind. This is Onslaught the Force, their second album. These guys are English. They've had a long career, ups and downs, member changes. A lot of people are saying their latest album, which I've only listened to once, is great. Just doesn't sound the same to me. This album has a magic to it. I mean, it's very satanic. It's very well written, very aggressive, very unique, though they obviously had a strong Metallica influence going on in their music. But I remember driving around the 8th Street Cemetery with my buddy Scott. We had this tape, and we were just not doing anything delinquent, just we're living in a town that did not have much of a nightlife or much to do, so you just kind of drive around your town or neighboring towns listening to metal. These two were in the cemetery numerous times, and I listen to both of these now, and I instantly am teleported back to those younger, less stressful, less complicated times. Great pairing. They're a little different from each other on obvious different ends of the pond, but awesome metal albums worth checking out. And this last pairing, these albums I have not listened to much since the time I'm going to describe. I went through a divorce quite a while ago and was in a very depressed state. And this album, Revelry by Beyond Dawn, Norwegian band, was the soundtrack to my misery. I mean, this basically sounds like Misery put to music to me. Very downtrodden, sad. It features a member from Vedbuenenzenda and Virus. So the vocal style is very similar. There's no metal on this. It's very, there's horns on it. It's just very dark, downtrodden. It really stirs that negative emotion in you when you're listening to it. And for some reason during this time, I found myself gravitating towards this, Burzum Civis Lisset Tar Os. I know these two kind of seem like a strange connection, but out of the early Burzum albums, this one seems the darkest and most depressive to me. And it really, especially the title track with that long synth work on there, just it stirred a similar emotion in me that this did. And when I hear both of these albums or songs off of these albums, I'm instantly teleported to that time where there felt like there was no hope. And again, they're a strange connection, a strange pairing, but somehow in my misery, it worked out quite well. So yeah, Beyond Dawn's Revelry. If you're if you're a little more open-minded and don't necessarily need to have metal all the time, this is a definite dark journey for sure. And this, you know what this is? It's Varg's darkest album as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, there's 5 pairings for you. Definitely go check out The Dark Path. Matt does a great job. Deserves more subscribers. He's a great dude. And he offers a very intuitive and interesting take on the music that he collects. And I think you would all benefit from watching his channel for sure. In the meantime, thank you one and all for watching and staying with this channel. We've been doing the streams. We have a name for that now. It is now called Heavy Metallurgy. So Friday night, Heavy Metallurgy. We got something going on tonight. And hopefully every week, long as everybody is available, we're going to keep doing it. And they've been a lot of fun. And again, we appreciate everybody that's been coming and checking out the shows. But yeah, that's it. Quick, short burn for you guys to go through. Hopefully there's a couple albums in here that you may not have heard that you will check out. Maybe put them together, pair them, see what you think. Again, thanks again, and check out The Dark Path. See ya.